Hi guys. How you doing, people? How are you? It's a question we don't always ask people when we see them, but I think we should learn to ask people how they are doing, because life itself is tough. We have a lot of things to work on. We have a lot of things to meet up with. We have schedules and plans we want to achieve, so everybody needs that favor. So how are you guys? Today, for every episodes I've been speaking on throughout this season has actually been an amazing season because there's a growth in every episode you watch. For every episode I've spoken on this season, we try as much as possible to outline things that would make us become better individuals, better people. And you will notice I always list out a lot of things, a lot of problems that would affect that process to becoming that amazing person that we are. But the great source, I would say, is being able to solve those problems, not necessarily running away from it. Hi guys, you're welcome to an amazing episode on Either With Our podcast. Don't forget that this podcast is a platform for you to be expressive and a reality check. I'm your host, imitate your Luchi Gloria, and I'm super excited to be here today. Disclaimer, this is the first episode I'm shooting without my producer and my friend. She traveled, and it's been amazing working with her on the previous episodes. So we're taking it from here with another person. The person will introduce herself while we go on the season. But for now, it's just me you have on the scorer. And I'm super excited to sit with you guys today. Today's topic is fixing what looks like the problem. So in every aspect of our life, we notice there is a leaking factor. There's a leaking, how do I say this? In every aspect of our life, we notice that there is that point in our life where we know that we actually have those problems. But I think one of the problems we do have as individuals is not sorting out for the legitimate problem. We do have what they call legitimate problem, and we do have problems that look like the problem. So when you don't have some basic needs, you say, oh, I don't have clothes, I don't have money to get this. But there's a process for you to be able to achieve those claims of being able to provide necessary things for yourself. So now we're looking at those things that make people believe that they have a problem. And we're also looking at the legitimate problems I think we have as individuals. For me personally, I think there is one aspect of my life where I do know and I've actually realized that I would not see, let's not touch it. I actually think I have, when it comes to relationship, not platonic relationship, when it comes to relationship that involves all of your essence, it's difficult for me to get in such relationship just because growing up, I never saw the need to work on those aspects of my life, because I always tell myself that if I don't find myself in that situation, there was no need to work on any issue. So as long as I avoided such relationship, I did not need to work on any problem. I did not need to work on it. But when I have now taught myself to engage in things that seem very uncomfortable, and I realized that I do have problems when it comes to certain relationships that are really, really serious. And by God's grace, we're working towards it. So fixing what looks like the problem. I think for us to be able to treat this, we have to look at three factors, and that is the process, the struggle, and the fight. If you do not realize, or if you do not come in contact with the process of becoming the constant struggle to be able to solve different problems, that is the essence of life itself. You're solving problems every day. You're trying to pursue your happiness. You're trying to pursue goals. As human beings, I believe that we are work in progress. I always say this, that even God is a God of process. God is a God of process. So I do not know where we humans, we manufacture a life where we don't go through process and we just want to fix problems. And a lot of times we concentrate on things that looks like the problem. So in everything you'd want to do, working towards a problem, you need to understand that is a process. There is no end product to, oh, I'm just going to run away from this. I'm just going to see myself in the end game of every situation I find myself in. You have to know that for every process you go through is to prepare you for that end product. So while working on the process, you also need to know that in this process you're always going to encounter struggles. The struggle to become the struggle of becoming per se. So when you go through this process, in the process there are struggles that you need to encounter, you need to like fight. In those struggles, there are also fights you need to fight rather. So I think one of those things we need to outline when it comes to fixing the actual legitimate problem is being able to identify our problems. So for us, basically, some of us, we do not even agree that we have certain problems. I think for the longest time, I always denied that I don't have a problem when it comes to relationship. And my friend will always tell me sometimes that, oh, Oluchi, I think you do have commitment issue, not necessarily commitment issue, but anything that will stress you. I know people always say you don't like stress, but life itself is a lot of stress. So people will tell me, my friend would tell me, Oluchi, anything that has to do with this, you just tend to avoid it basically. And I will tell her that no, it's not that I am avoiding it. It's just a thing of I don't feel like I need to do this. And she will tell me it's actually a problem that I think you should work on. And I will keep denying. But now that I am in the process of self-discovering, especially this year and this season, I discovered that, what she's saying is true. For every relationship I come in contact with, I think recently this year, I always give the excuse of, I'm still, not that it's an excuse, it's actually the truth too. I'm actually working on myself as an individual, at least something I can control. At the same time, I think it's a very comfortable excuse for me to tell people that, I don't want to get into this for now because I'm working on myself and I have a lot of self-discovery to do. It's true, but it's also an excuse. And there's always I always tell my brother, there's always going to be an excuse why you are not able to do some things. Excuse is opo. Excuses is too much. You can never run out of excuses when it comes to identifying your problem. When you think that life is a bed of roses, actually, God can give you that avenue and your life can be smooth. But at the same time, you need to realize that life is just a process. You are a work in process as a human being. So there is no really perfect person out there. Everybody's working towards their own goals, to their own plans of becoming a better person. So the second thing I also outline is solving the legitimate problem. When you identify the problem, not necessarily deny that you have this issue, it's solving the problem. The greatest success as a person is solving your problems and not necessarily running away from problems, because life is never, I will never be problem free. So our constant engagement with problems and issues is what makes life, basically. So I think I just have this one thing to tell you guys. Work on yourself to the extent that you recognize wrong even when you are the offender. Does that make sense? Work on yourself to the extent that you recognize the wrong thing even when you are the offender. I remember having a conversation with one of our workers here in the office, and he told me, he said, Oluchi, come, somebody said that you're a very wicked person. And because of the avenue God has given to me, His grace, this year, I have actually, it's not a thing of pride or anything, but it's something I'm proud of. I have been on a journey of self-discovery. I am working towards becoming an amazing person. I mean, a lot of people have told me I am amazing. Even sometimes when I can be very, but I have gotten a compliment that I am amazing. But within me, I know there are some things I need to work on. So I bless God for that encounter to be able to do that this year. And he told me that some people said that you're streets, you're wicked. And I found peace in myself knowing that for everything I do in this life, I try to do the right thing. And this was my response to him. I'm like, okay. The only explanation I can tell you is that I always try my best to do the right thing. So that's what I'm trying to tell, the message I'm trying to pass to you guys today. Work on yourself until you recognize wrong even when you are the offender. I stood up for myself knowing that I always try to do the right thing. And even though you consider that as being wicked or not being friendly, doesn't necessarily mean I'm wrong. The fact that you are blinded by your emotions and you think when you see the right thing you think is wrong, and when you see the wrong thing you think is the right thing. I cannot be held responsible for your own judgment. So sometimes you always just need to recognize what the real issue is. Concluding of this topic, solution comes with accepting. I think a great man once said, I don't even know any great man, but there's a saying that the moment you accept your fault as an individual, it is a step to solving your problems. The moment you accept that you need to work on this, the moment you accept that, oh, I do have a problem, I think I need to work on this. So solution of a problem lies in acceptance. Engaging in the problem itself is a step to solving a problem. So if you think you have a problem, you've identified this problem, and you're looking for a shortcut, pursuing what you think that this is the problem, it's not going to help you. So when I'm speaking to you now, I always try to speak to myself. I'm going to try as much as possible to not run away from serious relationship, but to be present, always show up. And with that, we can start with facing the legitimate problem, not pursuing what looks like the problem. I'm just trying to point to the fact that when we identify our problems, when we stop that victim mentality of, oh, I'm not the issue, she's the issue. Sometimes it's true, but most times we should always learn to tell ourselves the truth. I think and I know that we would now identify the real problems and not what looks like the problem. Okay, guys, don't forget to stream this podcast on Anchor, Spotify, and on YouTube. Please subscribe to my channel, guys. Thank you so much. Please subscribe. Let's give it minutes for you guys to kind of subscribe. Okay, follow me on Instagram, EWL_podcasts. Luchi on Instagram. On X, I've always been saying Twitter. Nobody has been correcting me. On X app now, formerly called Twitter, Oluchi. On Facebook, Oluchi. Like I always say, let's spread love. Love is God. God is love. I'm your host, Oluchi Gloria. Bye, guys.